Yeah, welcome. So the topic we'll be discussing in this lecture is independence. So basically we are discussing about uncertainty. So in this lecture we'll be discussing something called as when we are dealing with uncertain events, or when we are dealing with conditional probability, some variables can be independent of another variables. In that case, those independent variables can be separated out. So that's what we are going to discuss here. Okay. So in the previous lecture, we have discussed about full joint distribution with an example. There we have considered three variables. We have considered toothache, catch, and cavity. Now to that, we are going to add one more variable, that is weather. So now if you see, toothache can take two values, two possible values. That is either it can be true or false. Somebody may have a toothache or may not have a toothache. Catch can take two values. Somebody can have catch or they may not have catch. Cavity can also take two values, true or false. Somebody can have a cavity or they may not have a cavity. And weather can take four values: sunny, windy, cloudy, and snow. Right. So now the possible values will be, the total possible values will be 32 entries. Okay. Now say for example, we want to find the relation between, what is relation between these two things? The probability of somebody is having a toothache, catch, and cavity, and the weather being cloudy, and the probability of somebody is having toothache, catch, and cavity. So let us try to understand how these two things are related. Okay. So when you take this first thing, the probability of somebody is having a toothache, catch, cavity, and cloudy, this can be represented something like this. The probability of somebody is having toothache, catch, cavity, and cloudy is equal to the probability of the weather being cloudy, the probability of weather being cloudy, given that someone is having toothache, catch, and cavity. Okay, this is a product rule. Basically, this is the product rule. That is probability of A comma B can be written as A probability of A given B into probability of B. Okay, so with that only we are writing this statement. So it can be written either way. Probability of A comma B can also be written as probability of B given A into probability of A. So we are stating that the probability of the weather being cloudy, given that somebody is having toothache, catch, and cavity, into the probability of somebody is having toothache, catch, and cavity, right? So based using product rule, this statement can be represented like this. Now, if you consider this statement alone, that is, if you take this part alone, probability of the weather being cloudy, given that somebody is having toothache, catch, and cavity, if you take this alone, the probability of weather being cloudy, given that somebody is having toothache, catch, and cavity, actually this is equal to the probability of cloudy alone. The reason is the weather is not going to affected by whether someone is having toothache, catch, or cavity, right? So that is the crux here. So in this case, given whether somebody is having a toothache, catch, or cavity, it's not going to impact the weather, right? So actually here, this conditional probability is not the relevant thing here. So this three event is no way going to influence this event. These three events is not going to influence the weather at all. Hence, this can be just written as probability of cloudy. So probability of cloudy given toothache, cavity, and catch and cavity is nothing but it's just the probability of having cloudy, probability of the weather being cloudy. That's it. Okay. Now from this we can deduce that. Now again go back to this original equation. The probability of somebody is having toothache, catch, cavity, and cloudy. This can be written as, we can separate these two things out. One is probability of being cloudy, the weather being cloudy, into probability of toothache, catch, and cavity. Because these two things are independent events. The weather being cloudy is independent, and somebody is having toothache, catch, and cavity are independent, right? So logically it should be represented like this, but here the cloud I mean, the weather is not getting influenced by these three parameters. Hence we are separating it out like this. Okay, hence this statement can be just represented like this. Now the probability of somebody is having toothache, catch and cavity and the weather being cloudy is nothing but the probability of the weather being cloudy into the probability of somebody is having toothache, catch and cavity, right? Okay, so this is what is about independence. So here we have considered only for cloudy. Similarly, you have to consider for other values for weather also. So similarly, this equation you can write for. So you can write for probability of somebody is having toothache, catch, cavity, and the weather being sunny. This can be written as probability of sunny because the weather is not going to affected by these three parameters into probability of toothache, comma, catch, comma, cavity. Okay. So like this, we can write the equation for all the other remaining values of weather. So this can be written in a generalized way, something like this. A similar equation exists for every entry in. So we can now represent using this bolded P of toothache, catch, cavity, comma, weather. Right now here we are using the weather variable. So, so you know that this bolded P, it will provide a vector of values. Now it provides for all the values for weather, it will provide this equation for cloudy, for sunny, for windy, and for rainy. Okay, right? So in fact, we can write the general equation something like this. Probability of toothache, catch, cavity, comma, weather is equal to probability of toothache, catch, cavity into probability of weather, right? So you can split it into four different equations also, or you can write as a single general equation, something like this. Right. Okay. So the property here in the previous example, whatever here, the weather is independent of toothache, catch, and cavity. So the property we used here is called as independence. It is also called as marginal independence or absolute independence. So these are the other terms. Instead of just calling it as independence, it can also be called as marginal independence or absolute independence. Okay. So basically here the weather is independent of one's dental problem. So that's the whole concept, right? Independence between two propositions A and B can be written something like this. Assume that A and B are independent events. That is, A is not going to influence B and B is not going to influence A. In that case, probability of A given B is nothing but probability of A, because B is not at all going to influence A. So probability of A given B is nothing but probability of A. Similarly, probability of B given A is nothing but probability of B. Similarly, probability of A and B is nothing but probability of A into probability of B, because they are independent events, right? So this can be generalized for any variables. So independent variables, if there are two independent variables X and Y, they can be written as something like this. The probability of X given Y is probability of X. Probability of Y given X is probability of Y. Probability of X comma Y is nothing but probability of X into probability of Y. So comma Y means both, right? So they are independent events. Hence, probability of what is the probability of the both X and Y to occur is nothing but probability of X into probability of Y, right? Okay. So in this previous example, basically what we have did is we have initially considered four variables: cavity, toothache, weather, and catch. But later we found that weather is totally independent of the remaining three variables. Hence, we made it into something like this: cavity, toothache, and catch. They are all these are dependent items, but weather is totally independent. So we have separated it out. Okay, and then we applied the probability. Actually, by doing this, the size of the problem will also reduce. Here is another example. Assume that you're tossing a coin for n times. Now, they are independent events, right? The first toss is no way going to influence the second toss. The second toss is no way going to influence the third toss. So none of the toss is going to influence any other toss. So if you're tossing a coin for n times, these can be treated as n independent events. Actually, they are n independent events because none of the coin toss is going to influence the other toss, right? It is not that the first toss, if it is tail, the next toss should be head or something like that. No. So they can be separated as independent events. So that's what this diagram shows. Okay, fine. So next we'll be discussing an important rule, which is called as Bayes rule. So Bayes rule, basically it is created from this equation. This equation is from the product rule, which we have discussed earlier. Probability of A and B is equal to probability of A given B into probability of B, right? And probability of A and B can also be stated as probability of B given A into probability of A, right? It can be written either way. So probability of A given B is can also be written as probability of A and B can be written as probability of A given B into probability of B, or it can be written as probability of B given A into probability of A. Right? Now we are taking these two right-hand sides and we are equating it. And we are dividing it by probability of A. So when you divide this side by probability of A, this probability of A and the denominator probability of A will be cancelled. And you get what? Probability of B given A. And when you divide this part by probability of A, you get this. Probability of A given B into probability of B divided by probability of A. Now this equation is called as the Bayes rule. This is called as Bayes rule, or it is called as Bayes law or Bayes theorem, right? Now this rule has a lot of usages. So we'll discuss one example like how Bayes rule is helpful. Okay. So again, this is also Bayes rule. It is represented using a generic format. Probability of y given x is nothing but probability of x given y into probability of y divided by probability of x. The same thing only here we have discussed. Probability of b given a is nothing but probability of a given b into probability of b divided by probability of a. Probability of y given x is nothing but probability of x given y into probability of y divided by probability of x. Okay. So here is another way of representing the Bayes rule. Probability of cause given the effect. So effect is there. Then what is the cause, right? So this is equivalent to probability of effect given the cause, right? Into probability of cause divided by probability of effect. So it is like what you know. Uh, Assume that a probability of effect can be treated as cough. Effect can be considered as cough. Cause can be considered as say corona disease. If somebody is having the disease corona, then they will surely cough. Okay, they will suffer from coughing. So assume that you already know the probability of cough given corona. This value assume it's already known. If a patient is having corona disease, COVID-19, then what is the probability of having cough? This value we know. Let us assume. Okay. And also assume that you know this. The probability of cause. Probability of cause is what is the probability? This is a unconditional probability. What is the probability that someone get infected with corona? So this also we know. Let us assume. Okay. And also let us assume this also we know. What is the probability that someone may suffer from cough? Right? So here the effect is this is again a conditional probability someone is suffering from cough. Okay. So, but he may suffer from cough because of any reason. It may be corona, or it may be normal infection, or whatever it may be. Right? Assume that we know all these three values. That is, what is the probability of somebody is having cough given that he has corona? And what is the probability of somebody is having a corona? An unconditional probability. And what is the probability that somebody is having somebody is suffering from cough? Again, this is unconditional probability. Now assume that some patient is suffering from cough. Okay, some patient is suffering from cough. Now, what is the probability that he has corona? This can be deducted from this equation. This is the beauty of Bayes rule. So if somebody is having a cough, then what is the probability that he is having corona? So probability of somebody is having corona, given that he is suffering with cough, can be calculated like this. We know what is the probability of somebody is having a cough given corona into probability of somebody is having corona divided by probability of somebody is having a cough, right? By solving this, we can identify what probability if somebody is suffering from a cough is likely to have a corona. Okay, so that's what this equation says. Now let us discuss some related example for that. Okay, assume that a doctor knows that the disease meningitis, there is a disease meningitis, cause the patient to have stiff necks 70% of the time. Okay, that is the disease meningitis will cause the patient to have stiff neck 70% of the time. So, so let us assume meningitis as M. Let us represent meningitis as M, stiff neck as S. Okay. So, so if somebody is suffering with meningitis, they will have stiff neck 70% of the time. So this is what the probability of somebody is having stiff neck, okay, given that they have meningitis is 70%. Okay. The probability of somebody is having stiff neck given that they have meningitis is 0.7, right? Now assume that the doctor also knows some unconditional facts, the prior probability. What are they? The patient has meningitis 1 by 50,000 times. Okay. The probability that somebody can have meningitis, the probability that somebody can have meningitis is 1 by 50,000 times, right? So, so that is, so probability of M. So this is nothing but unconditional probability. Probability of M is equal to 1 by 50,000. Okay. So what is that value? So 1 by 50,000, it is 0.00002. Okay. This is the probability that somebody will have a meningitis. Right. Now let us also assume that and also the doctor knows that the probability that a patient is having stiff neck is 1%. Okay. The probability that a patient is having stiff neck is 1%. So probability of yes is 0.01. Okay. Now assume that with this information we want to identify that given that somebody is having stiff neck, what is the probability that they have meningitis? Okay, right? So these are the values we have. Probability of S given M is 0.7. Probability of M is 1 by 50,000. Probability of S is 0.01. Now we want to calculate this. What we want to calculate? We want to calculate what is the probability that somebody is having meningitis given that he has stiff neck. Assume that a patient is suffering from stiff neck. Now, with what probability we can say that he is having meningitis? So this is equal to probability of S given M, probability of having a stiff neck given that he has meningitis into probability of having meningitis divided by probability of having stiff neck. Okay, so this is the equation in which we have to plug in. So this is nothing but 0.7 into probability of S given M is 0.7. Probability of M is 0.0002 divided by 0.01. Okay. So if you calculate this, what you are getting? So if you calculate this 0.7 into 0.002 divided by 0.01. Okay. So the value is 0.0014. So that's what we get. That is, we can expect that 1 in 700 patients. That is, we can expect that 1 in 700 patients with a stiff neck will have meningitis. Right? So actually this, see, so here the beauty is, even though stiff neck is a strong indication of meningitis, if somebody is having meningitis, it is highly likely that they have a stiff neck. Okay. That doesn't mean that if somebody is having a stiff neck, they have meningitis. That is proved by this. Because if somebody is having meningitis, if somebody is having stiff neck, the probability that they have meningitis is only this much. It is only 1 in a 700 patient will have the problem of meningitis if they have stiff neck. Okay. So for such cases, the Bayes rule comes very handy, right? So it can be also used to predict what is the probability that somebody is having COVID, given that he is suffering from cough, right? Fine. Let us stop here. Thank you.